Can you hear me?
I have something to say.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Project Shadow. My name's Charlie. You might know me better as sci-fi fantasy writer C.E. Dorset, or, as I feel lately, sci-fi fantasy editor C.E. Dorset. I've been doing a lot of editing. I'm almost done. It's not even that long of a book, it's just... yeah, it's taking me time. But soon. So soon. So yesterday, I mentioned that I wanted to do an episode on music because we haven't done one in a while. And, the great bummer of, by contractual obligation, I am not allowed to play any songs that I am going to be talking to you about. And I am not going to try to describe the music in great detail because that's not my thing. I am, on the other hand, going to try to give you an idea of some tracks that are out. Really, I'm talking about an album that's about to come out that I want you to really take some time and get ready for, and an album that just came out that is just so good. It's just so good. So the album that I want you to start looking for, if you're not familiar with her work, Kerli is an Estonian musician who is just phenomenal. Like, I can't tell you how much I love her music and how much her music has meant to me over the years. I've talked about her. I wish I would talk to her. I should actually send her an interview request and see what happens. I have talked about her several times on the podcast. Her music, I feel like this is such a cliched thing to say, but so often it gives me life. Like, it really does. Her earlier music, which is hard to find, if you can find her first album, more power to you. It's really been hard to find for a while, but it's so good. It came out in 2008, and it was called Love is Dead. Oh, such a good album. Just everything about it made me fall in love with her. Like, it was one of those albums that, it was one of the last albums I actually bought in a store. I happened to walk by, I saw the cover peeking out at me, and I just couldn't help but pick it up. And the gothic doll on the cover just attracted me. And I went over, and I picked it up, and I took it home, and my life has never been the same. And I'm not saying that out of some, weird, religious experience, though. For some of her songs, Blossom, definitely that song fills me with just so much life. And Feral Hearts is another great track to check out that you should be able to get your hands on fairly easily. Like I said, if you don't know who Kerli is, check out her entire catalog. It varies from bubble goth into dance music, but it never loses its edge. It never loses its message. Integrity, love, and unity is her, call sign. It's something that she tries to put in everything that she does, and it shines through on all of her albums. I really can't say enough good about her. Her new album, which will be coming out on the 22nd, is called Shadow Works, and there are 2 tracks available off of it right now that you can listen to and get a taste of what is to come. The first is called Savages, the second is called Better. Savages is a great song. It's kind of a love song, kind of a dark song. It's about a love-hate relationship, and it like everything that she does, it's darkly beautiful. Better, on the other hand, You all know that I've been going through some stuff lately. I've been talking about it on the podcast off and on as well as that I can. Better is that song that when I get really down and I don't know what to do, I don't know how to pick myself up, Better is the track that I've been going to lately to pick myself up and move on. It is a life-giving track, and I think we all need more of that in our lives. So I'm really excited that Kerli finally has a new album coming out. There's been some drama over the last couple years between her and her label, and she's now free to do music, and these first two tracks are so good. I can't wait for the album. The entire album, like I said, will be out on the 22nd. Check out the tracks now and fall in love with this Estonian superstar. Aviva, who we've talked about on the podcast before. I did an entire episode about her catalog. If you go back a bit, you'll find that. And that was back in the day where I could actually play tracks, and I did. I don't think any of those tracks survived, but oh my goodness. She's a really good musician. She has a new track out called Blackout. If you like that kind of dark gothy thing, kind of techno gothy, bubble gothy thing, I don't know if she'd like me describing her music that way, but yeah, check it out. It's really good, and I just can't wait to see what all comes from her in the years to come. She's a new artist, and just so good. Okay, so the main attraction, the reason I wanted to do this today was to talk about Within Temptation's latest album, Resist. This is a theme album. It is in the realm of a concept album, though it doesn't go to the place that some of their earlier work did, where they're like comic books and everything to go along with it. This is such a good story. It is such a good album. The music is powerful. Sharon's voice is phenomenal. And the people that join her on the album, I want to highlight The Reckoning, because this is a track that features Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach, and I am not a fan of Papa Roach, and even more so now, because I didn't know that he could sing, and now I do, and I don't know why Papa Roach isn't a better band. I mean, now that I know that there's talent there, oh, you could do so much more. I'm just going to read the bridge and the chorus for you from this song, and it'll give you a taste of what you're expecting from this wonderful metal band. In blood and tears 1,000 times, we rise against, we always hold the line of reckoning. Red tears run down like a river. Don't close your eyes, it won't disappear. No fear, you want to end the pain. Don't let go, don't back down, hold the line, we'll bring the reckoning. Yeah. With everything that's going on, this album kind of takes that feeling that's in the air, that I think we're all feeling right now, and runs with it. With tracks like The Reckoning, Endless War, and the next track, Raise Your Banner, they are really going for it, and it picks up and encapsulates everything that I think a lot of us are feeling right now. This restless urge to take on the corporatocracy that's holding us back. I mean, it's not a political album in that it doesn't specify or call out what they're actually railing against. It leaves room for you to kind of put your own issues into the music, and that's such a wise thing to do, because as an American, with everything that's going on in my country, with them trying to take rights away from trans people, and actually taking rights away from trans people. They're no longer allowed to serve in the military. And of course, them wanting to start a trans registry and forcing trans people to have to use their assigned gender because this is kindergarten and we can't be trusted to do all the things. Okay, I'm not going to get off on a trans rights thing in the middle of this, even though I really could. This album, from track to track, it builds, it rests. The winning tracks I've kind of named already. You know, The Reckoning, Raise Your Banners, Supernova, all so good. Firelight, Trophy Hunter, the track that ends the album, is probably one of my favorites. I do think that The Reckoning will make it into my favorite Within Temptation tracks of all time, which is a crowded field and really difficult to get up in, because if you're not familiar with them, they've been around for a while, and their music is just so good. It's metal with kind of a poppy undercrust. Like, Sharon's ability to sing, like, this, oh, I hope they don't hear this and take it as an insult, and I hope that this conveys what I'm talking about. Because, you know me, I like to make analogies, and okay, so Within Temptation for me is kind of like, what if Fleetwood Mac were a metal band? Like, it has all of those stories that you want to hear and find out how they end, and those anthems that just pump you up, and just all that mysticism and otherworldliness. Like, if Stevie Nicks is our fairy queen, if she's our gold dust woman, if she is, that, good witch that leads us on, then Sharon Adele is our dark queen. Like, they kind of form a spectrum. Like, it's similar kinds of music. As far as the subject matter, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of stories, and that's one of the things that really draws me to this band, is the tales that they tell are powerful. And on this album with Holy Ground and Mad World and Firelight, they really hit all the buttons that they need to, and it just carries you away. It just gives so much strength. And if you're a writer like me, it has kind of gotten me wanting to create a story that can have these songs as its vital living soundtrack. Because it wants to be more than just an album. They're one of those few bands nowadays that makes music that you really should just light a candle, turn off the lights, and just listen to it. The imagery is so vibrant. The storytelling is so good. The vocals, the instrumentation, everything about it comes together in just the right way to paint the most vivid pictures of this alternative reality. This strange future world that you somehow want to inhabit, you want to go to, you want to live in, even with the madness and horror that you'll find there. And Sharon's voice really gets you there. Like, she can transport you away into this brilliant place that you didn't know that you wanted to go to. Yet, at the same time, kind of talking to the concerns and the thoughts and feelings that you have in your own heart. Like, I'm not sure how they do this, and I would love to find out more about their writing process, because it really, at least for me, like, they're a band that I've been in sync with for quite some time, and their tracks just speak to me. And this this album is everything that we need right now. It is, The Reckoning is that protest song that we need. Same with Raise Your Banners. These are the protest songs we need right now to give us the courage to get through everything that's going on in the world. We'll talk about this a bit more after the break. And we're back. Okay, so I really don't know how to explain how this genre of music works, because I would say for a long time I would have put Within Temptation in the same category as bands like Nightwish and Leaves' Eyes before Liv was asked to leave. I honestly haven't listened to them since for a multitude of reasons, and maybe I'll check it out. Let me know if any of their music's been that good after she left. But, there's kind of this class of artists that fit together, and they always have this kind of high operatic dramatic nature to their music that is something that I've been looking for years. And when I finally found it, it just changed the way that I listen to an album. Mainly because, when I was a kid, and it's time for me to have my old people time. When I was a kid, albums were a thing. I remember my sister, this is one of the reasons why Almost Famous is a movie that means so much to me. When I was a kid, I remember my sister sitting me down and just putting an album on, and the two of us just listening to it from start to finish. And I'm old enough that, I mean an album, an actual record. And there's a certain craft that goes into making an album that's different from trying to make a bunch of singles that will be individually popular. And there's even a greater art if you can do the two things simultaneously. And that is an art that Within Temptation has really mastered over their career. Their albums together are just things of beauty that it's hard not to just put them on and listen all the way through. They're kind of like Nightwish in that way, that the albums are crafted where you just want to sit and listen to the whole thing. And they're so arresting in the power and beauty that they're putting out. You almost don't want to do anything else while they're on. You don't want to talk, you don't want to be distracted, you just want to listen. And that is such a rarity in this day and age. I can talk about some albums that have come out recently that are good, but they're not albums. You know what I'm saying? They're collections of songs that have all been put out concurrently by an artist, and thus technically are an album, but the work wasn't put in for this cohesiveness between the tracks so that it all fits together like a jigsaw puzzle, so that at the end of the day, the sum is more than, the whole is more than the sum of its parts. And Resist, for me, is one of the few albums, it's the first album this year that I've listened to all the way through and wanted to immediately just put it on repeat. Not pull a couple songs out of it to listen to again and again and again, but listen to the whole album on repeat. Because the way each song fits into the next song without having to do this trick that a lot of albums do, where the songs literally kind of bleed into each other, which makes you naturally want to hear the album together. The songs have their own distinct start and stop. But the way the themes and the music are laid out, each song kind of leads you into the next one, which then leads you into the next one and into the next, all the way through. And by the time You reach Trophy Hunter. If you're like me, at least, you get to this moment of, wait, that's it? Oh, well, maybe we can just start again. And that is the sign of a great album. Within Temptation have knocked it out of the park with this one. And even if you're not a fan of theirs, or if you've never heard of them before, check this one out. Just whatever you use to listen to music, check it out. If you're a little nervous, go to YouTube, look up Within Temptation, go to their official page, and check out the videos. Because they've done a video for The Reckoning, Raise Your Banners, I think Firelight. I think the video for Firelight's out. And today they released a video for Supernova. Check them out. If you like rock music, metal music at all, I can't imagine you not falling in love with this album and with this band. It's just too good. The last album and band I wanted to talk to you about, it's a British band called Puppy, and their first album is called The Goat. And, okay, so I first encountered them through the song Black Hole, and I immediately fell in love with them. Their music is kind of Ghost-like. Like, if you're familiar with the band Ghost, it's kind of in a similar genre to them. And when I checked out the artists themselves, their earlier tracks really sounded a lot more like Ghost. This doesn't. I mean, you can tell that that's an influence on them, but it doesn't. Unlike their earlier stuff, which really feels like a Ghost cover band, this album feels more like them. And I'm just really excited about them. They've got a couple videos up. Their videos are hilarious. And that's a big thing for me. I am not a fan of metal bands that feel like they have to be all serious and stuff, and we can't see them laugh or have fun. And, you know, the band being chased by a goat man who's trying to get them to sacrifice people so that they can have fame. Like, that's just a funny song. A funny video. And it's the video for the actual song Black Hole. I'm going to share with you the lyrics because, for me, whether they're intended to be or not, there is a tongue-in-cheekness that I get from their lyrics where they're like, we're dark and we're spooky, but, you know, really kind of groovy at the same time. So here are the lyrics. Time slows and fills me with feeling, a blood moon that the sun is concealing. And each night, when my thoughts are congealing, it's here again. So here I stand with my head in hand, trying to heal my sunburnt soul, a sword and shield on the battlefield, trying to take back some control. 'Cause I can't see because I can't see through this black hole. Storms swell in the tide of emotion, a typhoon rising up from the ocean. The day kneels in its ceaseless devotion. Here it comes again. Wave after wave before me to strike down, bound for the grave without much to keep me round. Hold back these tears, else I will drown in them, and reach out a broken hand for help, and I'll start again. Yeah. And the chorus repeats a couple times in the middle there. There is a fun tongue-in-cheekness about them. There is a really oddly lighthearted nature to the music that, for as dark and heavy as the lyrics are for a lot of their songs, it just, like Entombed. Entombed is, you know, Black Hole and Entombed are probably my two favorite tracks on the album. If you don't listen to anything else on it and you're checking it out, definitely go to those two. They are just amazing. I'm looking, I've got them pulled up on Apple Music right now. The album review is The Londoners Sweeten Iron-Strong Riffs with Earworm Melodies. Yeah. That's really a great way to describe them. The guitar work, I don't know what I can say about it. I love a band that isn't afraid to play with a guitar because I love me some guitar-centric rock. And Puppy goes there. Like, there are full-on guitar solos that work, that aren't just, look at how fast my fingers can hit the strings. Just really lending emotion and mood to the tracks. They're a really fun band that I haven't heard anybody else really talking about, so I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but definitely check out The Goat by Puppy. It's worth the time. It also came out this year, so they're brilliant. I really think they are. They make me smile, which, given the fact that their lyrics, like that's why I wanted to read the lyrics to you, because the lyrics are dark, and the album cover is like a skull and a bone and a grimoire and 2 black candles and all this stuff, right? And it's on pink. It's all that on like this field of endless pink. And I think that just says everything you need to know about them. Like, they have all of that dark doom and gloom that you would expect from like a Black Sabbath or a Ghost, but with this just brilliant tongue-in-cheek fun and killer guitar work. Like, I really enjoy the guitar work on this album, and that's something I can't say for a lot of artists. Unlike Resist, it doesn't bleed together in quite the same way as Resist does to make a perfect album. The tracks are good. There's a lot of good songs on this album. I think all of it made it into my library. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, all of it made it into my library. Definitely one to check out if you haven't already. But those are kind of my picks right now as far as music goes. And of course, everything by Lizzo, especially her latest single, Juice, but everything else as well. Go back into her back catalog. Don't just be happy with Truth Hurts and Boys and Juice. Go back. You'll miss some of the greatest songs. Like, she's so good. And I'm glad she's finally getting the respect she deserves. Well, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I really like doing this. I wish I could play music, but when I signed up, I agreed not to play tracks on the podcast, so I can't do that. But definitely check out these albums. If you like the show and the app that you're listening to me on allows you to rate the podcast or the episode, or both, please do so. It helps me out a lot. It tells the algorithm to share the podcast to more people. And the more people that hear it, the more it grows, and the easier it is for me to do all this. Like, it really is. If you got $1 or $2 you can throw my way, just look down in the show notes. You'll see a link that says Anchor Community Support. If you click that, you can donate at the $1, $5, or $10 level. That money helps out a lot. Help me get my new mic. Help me get a copy of the software Vellum that I'm using to put out the ebooks and the paperback for Crucify My Love, which should be out in the not too distant future. I'm almost done editing it. I promise. I'm getting there. It's almost done. And so much more. Like, you guys have really made everything so wonderful, and I just want to say thank you and welcome to all the new listeners. If you have any questions, definitely hit that voice message button and leave me up to a 1-minute message, question, comment, or topic you'd like to see discussed on the show. I would love to answer those. You can connect with me on social media. I'm CE Dorset on Twitter. You can find a link to that and all of my social media over at projectshadow.com. And yeah, I'm really excited about a lot of the stuff that we've got coming this year. and I hope you are too. Thank you so much for sharing the podcast and helping me to grow. We are going to build this project up, and we are going to take over the world with meaningful discussion and not hate-filled ragging on things. At least that's my goal. So thank you so much. And don't forget, until next time, have the fun. Bye.